Yo, what is up, everybody? It's Jay the Great here, and welcome back to another Naruto reaction video here today. And today we have yet another video by the Great Six, and as you can tell, the title of this is Stop Debating Sasuke versus Madara. So, folks, Madara, as we all know, is one of the most highly revered and respected entities in the entire Naruto verse, and rightfully so. He was a very complex and well-written character, had his own understandable ideology, and was a powerhouse during his time, and later on in the Fourth Great Shinobi War as well. Right, so clearly there is still a lot of emotional appeal as far as he is concerned within the Naruto fandom, and I think it's well deserved. But as far as Sasuke versus Madara, from my lens and from most power scales, I would say that ship has sailed. Sasuke reached new heights in the Fourth Great Shinobi War and also in Boruto. He was competing with those Suzuki level threats, and as we all know, even Jubidara does not pale in comparison to an Otsutsuki level threat. We see it right after Kaguya's appearance. Sasuke says, wow, this is a much greater threat than Madara. And then later on we see Momoshiki and Kichiki emerge, where he iterates, wow, this threat's even greater than Kaguya. Right? So transitively, Madara is just below all those highly powerful entities. Right? He does not reach that level of power. Yes, he was a force to be reckoned with during his time and his era, and even in the war, the Fourth Great Shinobi War. But current day, he would not compare well. Right? There are insanely powerful entities. Even Sasuke can't compete now. Right? Sasuke has been nerfed in the most current canonical Boruto literature, as we all know. And not even he can compete with the enemies of today. Ida, Damon, Momoshiki's out there. Shibai is somewhere out there, which we were introduced to recently, with him being the god of Otsutsuki himself, being beyond even three-dimensional. Right? So the debate of Sasuke versus Madara is simply a debate that still exists due to the clinging of emotional appeal some of the fans in the Naruto fandom still have to Madara, right? But despite our emotional appeal and reverement for Madara, we have to be objective as far as where he scales tangibly. He doesn't scale to individuals of prime Sasuke's caliber, Naruto's caliber. He does not scale to that level. There is nothing empirically to suggest that, right? You'd have to simply speculate where Three-Eyed Jubidar would be, and even then, Sasuke saw that version of Madara and still said Kaguya is a greater threat than that, right? So we have individuals that saw him, right, and still said he pales in comparison to an Atsuki level threat. Hence, Madara would simply have no shot against someone of Sasuke's caliber in Boruto pre-nerf, right? So this is going to be a very interesting video. I'm sure Six is going to try to really put the nail in the coffin on this debate as well. And I'm very intrigued to see what you have to say about this one. But before we begin, I know it's really appreciated. Hit that like button, turn on bell notifications to stay updated with yours truly. And if you enjoy, man, you mess with the kid, make sure to hit that sub button, because once you do, you become part of the family forever. But let's not waste any more time, screen. Let's see what Six says about this one.
Can we stop talking about this topic? It's not even as if it's a good topic with interesting discussion points like, oh, you forgot about this scan. It actually makes Madara stronger, and blah, 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 blah. Madara is not stronger than Sasuke. Now, a lot of people who defend Madara in this debate would say that power isn't everything and that strategy and hacks go into who can win a fight. I think this is true a lot of the time, actually, and I think that depending on the day, obviously Madara could come out with a win over Sasuke. If Madara showed up in the Leaf Village directly after Sasuke got done fighting Jigen, yeah, there's absolutely no strategy Sasuke could
I mean, of
cook up
course.
that would allow him to get up and start fighting. However, I think this is a relatively disingenuous way to look at things. Obviously, if you want to compare two people, being generous and fair, it should be both of them at their full power. I also think it's fair to say that at a certain point, no matter how much planning and strategy you have, if someone is so overwhelmingly more powerful, you're not going to be able to get the upper hand on them.
Agreed.
Let me give you an example. Kid Naruto, no matter how hard he tries, he could try his absolute hardest, bring out half of Kurama if he wants to. He is not going to beat Jubi Madara. Do I think that the difference between adult Sasuke and Jubi Madara is as big as Jubi Madara to Kid Naruto? No, probably not. I'm just trying to get at the idea that at a certain point the power versus strategy argument becomes irrelevant to have. So with all that being said, we're going to be taking into account adult Sasuke with his Rinnegan at his full chakra and Madara with his three eyes at his full chakra. Now, Don't get me wrong, I think there are bad arguments present on both sides here, and I'll definitely go over them. But in
All right.
case I haven't made myself clear enough already, I think that Sasuke wins this fight. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, but let's get started. This debate actually has a luxury not afforded in a lot of other ones, and that's very clear power caps for each character. In other words, people that they can't defeat or are directly weaker than. For example, Madara's cap is Kaguya, of course. Sasuke is so surprised that Kaguya can hold so much chakra that he genuinely cannot believe that she exists or had existed at any previous point in time. This is an inner monologue, so Sasuke should be telling the truth here, and if anything, this is like the purest form of a reaction you can get from a character, their own thoughts inside their head, so it is a genuine reaction. It's also
Correct.
stated that Kaguya makes a free use of the chakra that she has, basically meaning that she doesn't have a cap on her output. Even if you don't agree that the direct interpretation of the most likely one is that she doesn't have a cap on her output from this statement, the statement directly following that one says her usage surpasses even Madara's. Which all I'm really getting at with that is Kaguya not only has more chakra than Madara, but she knows how to use it better and can use it better than Madara as stated by the data book. In the description for Ami no Minaka, that's the ability Kaguya uses to shift dimensions. It said that only people who have awakened Kaguya's eye can use the jutsu, which may lead you to then believe that Madara could also use it. But then the page reaffirms at the bottom that Kaguya is the only one who can use this technique. This passage also seems to confirm with this that one use of Ami no Minaka requires more chakra than Madara has in general, since it says to use the technique it requires a large amount of chakra, so only Kaguya can do it. Some problems directly following this, or questions that may arise in your head, would be that Kaguya scales to Naruto or Sasuke at certain points in time, and Madara seemingly scaled way above them even before he acquired his third eye. So shouldn't that mean Madara is as strong as, comparable, or even a little bit stronger than Kaguya? And the answer is just straight up no. If you go back and reread through the Kaguya fight, Naruto only ever scales to Kaguya when she's going all out, when he is either mental amped or resolve amped, or he's being amped up by boil release, both things that we can't say he was using on Madara, especially not boil release. Even with boil release, which is stated to give Naruto unparalleled physical power, he only kicks Kaguya away and doesn't even damage her in any meaningful way at that point. Then too, when Naruto is mental amped after Kaguya kills Obito, he only lands this hit on her seemingly because she had just got through switching dimensions again, and she was already very fatigued from doing it so many times prior. Zetsu was telling her that she should chill out moving forward. Then even after this, Kaguya goes on to create an expansive True Seeker orb and absorb more chakra from the people trapped in the infinite Tsukuyomi and gain exponential strength according to Zetsu. So she's even stronger than when she was already stated stronger than Madara.
Yep.
So I think that breakdown was pretty clear. I think that Kaguya is stronger than Madara. I know that the majority of people think that nowadays, and that Madara is stronger than Kaguya is more so an old school take, but it's still a take that some people had, and especially towards the end when I started talking about if Madara was stronger than Naruto and Sasuke, who were actually somewhat rivaling Kaguya. That's an argument people like to cling to, and it's really just not true. If we move on to adult Sasuke, I want to make another thing clear, and that's that, like I said earlier, there are bad arguments on both sides. I think that just saying, oh, Sasuke is fighting in the Boruto era, Boruto people are stronger than Naruto people, I think that that's generally just a bad argument and not fair to bring to the table at all. It
It's
essentially
not the best
just
premise,
throws
yeah.
evidence out the window in favor of a position that just says, oh, it's the case, so now it's the case. I don't think that that's fair. For example, I don't think that Ao, who fights in Boruto, could just beat Kaguya. I think that would be ridiculous to think, actually. And I don't think all of the Genin who fight in Boruto could just beat Kaguya, or they could all beat Madara. I think it's a relatively absurd position to hold, but people do uphold it, and I don't think that it's fair to do so. The important part here, though, is does Sasuke fight threats that are relative to Kaguya or greater than Kaguya, or does Sasuke scale to threats that are greater than Kaguya in order to say that he could beat Madara, since that's the link we have going on right now? And the answer, as you could probably imply from the beginning of the video is yes. I don't want to turn this into a Momoshiki versus Kaguya video, so I'm going to make this really simple, and if it needs further elaboration, then perhaps I can make an entire separate video on that subject and break it down in a more efficient, effective, and long format. But for now, like I said, I'm just going to give a more simple breakdown of it. When Sasuke is first talking to the five Kage and Naruto during the Shin portion of the story, he mentions that something that always bothered him was the fact that despite Kaguya's formidable power, she was still trying to create an army of White Zetsu in preparation for war. And he learned that the White Zetsus had existed far before Shinobi had existed. Then he gives his hypothesis on what this might mean, and he thinks that it might mean that something that frightened even Kaguya could exist. Now, I know all of the keyboard warriors in the comments started going crazy. Oh, it's just a hypothesis, it's just a hypothesis, nothing was ever confirmed. And I'll get to that in a minute, but there's another subsect of people who think that Kaguya thinks Momoshiki and Kinshiki are weak because all she was preparing for them were a White Zetsu army. Need I remind everyone, this army was upwards of 100,000 strong, and not only that, White Zetsu can merge with each other and they could absorb massive amounts of chakra. So just because one White Zetsu isn't all too impressive in terms of combat power, doesn't mean that they can't be combat applicable in the way that they can absorb chakra, merge together, and become a distraction so that maybe Kaguya can separate them into one-on-ones and whatnot, and even potentially weaken them if they were to absorb enough chakra, because like I said, and I want to remind everyone, this Zetsu army is over 100,000 deep. So the fact that Kaguya was gathering a White Zetsu army does not imply that she thinks Kinshiki or Momoshiki is weak in any way. After searching through Kaguya's dimensions and then meeting Momoshiki and Kinshiki and having a short little scuffle, Sasuke manages to escape with a scroll that he then gets decoded back at the Leaf Village. After the scroll is decoded, Sasuke does confirm that his suspicions were right, meaning that he was right, something that could frighten even Kaguya does exist. Now, I know that there's another subsect of people who are going to say that just because it frightened Kaguya doesn't mean it's stronger than her. I want to point out to everyone that Sasuke's entire basis for the hypothesis is that something is frightening Kaguya even though she has so much power, that she wants to create an entire army to fight the threat. So it probably is talking about power when he says something that could frighten even Kaguya would appear one day. Sasuke also confirms that the scroll warns about the invasion of these two, so it is likely that he's talking about Momoshiki and Kinshiki. I'll be generous here when talking about this statement of what can frighten Kaguya, and not say that it's only applying to Kinshiki or that it's only applying to Momoshiki, and instead say that it's possibly referring to a combination of the two, whether that be through fusion via the chakra fruit, or rather it be through just them being a pair in general.
I
Regardless,
agree with
the
that.
end-all interpretation that would come from this is that at the very least, Fused Momoshiki is stronger than Kaguya. That on its own doesn't mean everything, because we're trying to determine if Sasuke is stronger than Kaguya so that we can link him back to Madara. Sorry to go on that whole tangent, but it's very much so needed. So how does Sasuke compare to Momoshiki or other Momoshiki tier characters? I think the first and most obvious person to pick to try to compare Sasuke to is Naruto. In the manga canon of events during the Momoshiki fight, Naruto absolutely dismantles Momoshiki, especially in terms of hand-to-hand combat. And I think a fight between two Otsutsukis, like I was comparing Momoshiki and Kaguya before, would probably lead back into hand-to-hand combat anyway, since both of them can absorb each other's ninjutsu and chakra attacks. Kaguya has shown the ability to absorb, and so has Momoshiki. We also get sort of a glimpse into how a fight between two Otsutsuki would go whenever we see Borishiki and Kawashiki fight, and they're both absorbing each other's ninjutsu, and no ninjutsu really works on the other person. So I do think it's fair to say that Momoshiki being stronger than Kaguya is probably a statement in reference to their taijutsu, or at least Kaguya being afraid of Momo is a reference to that as well. So, like I said, because I know a lot of people are going to try to call me out for being wrong on this, but you can go check chapter 8 of the Boruto manga. Whenever Naruto and Momoshiki interact in terms of hand-to-hand combat, Naruto absolutely dismantles him. It's a quick 2-page fight, and Naruto sends Momoshiki flying.
Yep.
After that, Sasuke does land a hit on Momoshiki, but I'm not gonna lie, just to be fair, even though I think Naruto and Sasuke are around relative, Sasuke does land this hit on Momoshiki's back, So I don't think it's fair to say that if Momoshiki was turned around, the same thing would have happened or something like that. I also mentioned at the beginning of the video, we're taking both of these characters at their full power, and I don't really think Sasuke's at his full power whenever they're fighting Momoshiki.
Yeah, he's not.
Sasuke does mention before the
He's
fight even
fatigued.
begins that he can only take a set number of people with him whenever they're going to Momoshiki's dimension, and he ends up teleporting more people than he even originally expected because Katasuke and his goon travel along to try to get footage for their Ninja Tool commercial. So Sasuke's nerfed and Naruto's nerfed from getting his chakra drained,
Exactly.
yet they can
They certainly
still
weren't at full
stand toe
power.
to toe with Momoshiki in terms of hand-to-hand combat at least. You can also see this during their fight with Jigen as well. Sasuke and Naruto are fighting about evenly, and in some cases Sasuke's even outperforming Naruto, getting a much better speed feat on Jigen when he comes in and outspeeds his kick that he's about to land on Naruto. Naruto is pinned down by the rods here, but that's not really the part I want to focus on. The part I want to focus on is the fact that Sasuke came in from off panel and kicked Jigen before he managed to land this kick on Naruto, meaning that he did at least outspeed him in this instance. It is possible that Sasuke used his Rinnegan ability to get closer, but regardless, he still landed his kick before Jigen landed his. The fight with Jigen is also a much better example of Sasuke being at full power or in tip top condition whenever he's fighting, because he doesn't have to teleport multiple people before the fight. It's literally just him going to Jigen's dimension to help fight with Naruto. You can also see them reacting to attacks at the same time. It's just a whole bunch of things to imply that Naruto and Sasuke are around the same
Yeah,
level.
yeah, I agree.
And I think this pretty soundly means that Sasuke would be able to beat up Kage in terms of hand-to-hand combat. Whether or not he could actually kill her is fairly irrelevant here because I'm just trying to prove that he's at least faster and stronger than her through scaling the characters like Six Paths Naruto as an adult or Momoshiki. This should mean that Sasuke is just much faster and stronger than Madara, and he should be able to beat him up in hand-to-hand combat. Now, Sasuke also has other ways to win against Madara. He doesn't have to just beat him down until he's out of chakra. It is possible Sasuke could BFR Madara, similar to the things that Kaguya does, just end up putting him in another dimension. Since Madara, as we know it, does not have any space-time ninjutsu, he doesn't have the ability to reverse summon because the only summon we've ever known him to have is the Nine Tails. That's currently trapped inside of Naruto or dead, at least at this point in the manga. So if he does BFR Madara, he would absolutely never be able to make his way back to the dimension to fight
Yep.
Sasuke.
It's the most
We
rational
saw
conclusion.
way back in the war arc, Sasuke is able to manipulate Jubi levels of chakra on up to Hagoromo's level, at least according to Kurama into Susanoo. So Sasuke unironically could chakra drain Madara. It's literally just Sasuke is faster and stronger. Madara doesn't have a way to put him down since Sasuke can resist the infinite Tsukuyomi, so no Genjutsu is working on him. He's not getting trapped in Chibaku Tensei. He could unironically trap Madara in Chibaku Tensei because Madara can't absorb the core or anything. There's nothing to absorb or neg whenever it comes to Sasuke's Chibaku Tensei. There's the argument that Sasuke uses a variant of the Six Paths Chibaku Tensei because of what they use on Kaguya and how his Chibaku Tensei forms compared to the rest. So it's like Sasuke has WinCon after WinCon after WinCon, and Madara really has nothing that we know of that could put Sasuke down. He should be
Precisely.
slower, he should be weaker, and he doesn't have anything that can actually kill Sasuke. That's exactly why I think this is such a stupid debate to have.
Yep.
I think it's very clear and it's been very clearly illustrated to us that Sasuke and Naruto have simply grown above that level that they were at when they were children, and now they're on a much higher level of fighting. Well, maybe not now because Sasuke, he lost his Rinnegan and Naruto lost
Yeah,
Kurama.
yeah.
Maybe he can't
Pre
do Six
nerf.
Paths Sage Mode, but I'm talking about whenever Boruto first started around those areas.
Yep.
I think it
Great
really
video by
made
Six as
pretty clear
always.
to us Naruto and Sasuke can now deal with Otsutsuki level threats with relative ease, even while they're nerfed, that being, Momoshiki and whatnot. But that's pretty much all for the video. If you like the video, obviously
Great
leave a
video
like,
Six
comment,
as always.
subscribe to the channel, and other than that, have a nice day.
Alright, there you guys have it. I want to definitely give my take on this. So, what Six just illustrated and further illuminated on is the discrepancy in power between Prime Sasuke and even Jubidara, right? Empirically, there's a plethora of evidence to suggest Sasuke is above Otsutsuki level, which is already stated to be above Madara, significantly. He beats Momoshiki and has success against Momoshiki fatigued. Yes, he had Naruto's help, and they did work in conjunction, but this is Naruto and Sasuke fatigued. And I would say even significantly. Naruto had about 50% chakra, and Sasuke probably had around the same amount with the amount of people he had to teleport. Right? Teleportation does really hamper his chakra reserves. It really does. So with the amount of people he had to teleport, it is very easy to deduce that he wasn't even close to full power, right? And for these individuals to be able to contend, even with Fuse Momoshiki, with this level of fatigue implies that they are much, much more powerful than someone of Jubidara's caliber. Even base Kaguya was stated to have much greater chakra than Jubidara, and to be able to use it more efficiently. She could use it freely, unlike Jubidara. She is more powerful than Jubidara, greatly more powerful as a result of that, right? So if we're taking full power, prime Sasuke, no fatigue, Jubidara would be at his mercy. He'd be, like Six said, empirically, there's a plethora to suggest that Sasuke is stronger, faster, more capable, and has much more of an arsenal to destroy Jubidara, while conversely, Jubidara really has nothing for him. Everything would be dealt with. Genjutsu, you can't get him. Not even the Infinite Tsukuyomi. Limbo clones, he could see them. He has a Rene Sharingan. And all the other tangible aspects, he just has the upper hand. Like I said, speed, AP, etc. He has the upper hand. He could just send him away to another dimension. The skirmish could last a few seconds if he wanted it to. It really wouldn't be an eventful battle at all. It'd be quite easy for Sasuke to deal with Jubidara. Quite easy. He could pick his poison. He certainly could pick his poison to take him out. So, Six just illustrated that further with great extrapolations from the narrative, from the canonical literature available, and made it even more crystal clear that Sasuke, Naruto, and these upper tier antagonists are above that level. Right? As the narrative goes on, there are these generational transitions, if you will, in power. Right? There's this upward trend of caliber as you read more and more into the narrative, as you go down the Naruto history timeline. Right? We can start from the very beginning. We got Hashirama and Madara. And even before that, we had Hagoromo and his brother. Then we had his sons. Then we had Madara and Hashirama, right? And they were the top of the key. They were the top of the helm for quite a bit until there was a generational transition there, with Naruto getting KC into Sage Mode and Sasuke getting EMS, and then they would go on to get six path powers, and they would be the next in line, right? And now, currently, there's a generational transition taking place with Boruto and Kawaki, right? And Ida and Sarada and Damon. This generational transition is taking place again. Now it's Naruto and Sasuke getting pushed to the wayside. They are being sidelined now. Naruto is sealed, Sasuke is nerfed, and now Boruto and Kawaki take over, right? The generational transition is taking place. Kishimoto is having that take place, and with the recent plot twist, it's a perfect catalyst for that transition, right? Not only the power transition, but the emotional appeal transition. Boruto will now have to face trials and tribulations, being an apparent global terrorist to all those that were brainwashed by Ida's omnipotence jutsu, right? In their eyes, he is a global terrorist that killed the Hokage. So he's going to have to face some adversity, right? A reason why Boruto isn't liked is because he never faced those tough times that his father once did. He never faced scrutiny from an entire village talking down to him because he has this demon inside of him, right? He never faced that. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and now that will change. His father's no longer around. The entire planet is against him except for a select few that weren't affected by the omnipotence, and he's going to have to evolve. These trials and tribulations are going to shape his character, and he will become a true shinobi soon enough, right? That's why everyone's excited for Boruto currently. But yeah, I got kind of off track, started going into Boruto. Point is, Sasuke is significantly superior to Madara. There's an abundance of empirical evidence to suggest that. The datums that are available just suggest so. There is nothing for Madara except speculation. Weak speculation. Speculation already in itself is a very unreliable form of logical strategy. But to have a weak speculation, it's simply null. Null and void to most people. if you're having a debate or trying to have a debate on this matter. It's not a logical. It's not a logical, valid strategy. It's not. It's pretty crystal clear who is the superior. It truly is. Right. So Madara is always going to be revered regardless, and he is one of my favorite characters as well. But I'm not going out of my way to say he beats Momoshiki Otsutsuki or anything like that. He does not. He fails because he lacks the power. There's nothing empirically to suggest otherwise. There is no proof by contradiction. There is no logical strategy with any sort of validity to imply that Madara is at this level of power. He simply is not. He simply is not. All right, so there you guys have it, folks. That's my thoughts on this video. Great video by Six. Great extrapolations, like I said, and great logical power scaling as well with these extrapolations. You put the pieces together very well and made the conclusion even more apparent and blatant. Sasuke is a superior being in his prime over Jubidar. It's as simple as that, folks. So, yeah, like I said, that's my thoughts on the video. Make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think that Jubidar is more powerful than me and Six are giving him credit for? Do you think that we were correct? Or do you have any thoughts in general? Make sure to leave them down in the comment section below. But that's going to wrap it up, folks, and I'll catch you in the next one. This is Jay the Great signing out. Peace.